WWF War Zone, released in August 1998. I actually owned a copy of this for the N64. WCW vs. NWO World Tour really rekindled my interest in wrestling gaming. And in 1998, the WWF got really hot with the Attitude Era. I wanted to play a WWF game and give people stunners. I had heard less than favorable things about War Zone, but I took the plunge and bought the game, and the results were, well, less than favorable. Let's check out the roster, which puts you smack dab in late 1997 goodness. You have Bret Hart, Steve Austin, The Rock, Shawn Michaels, Mankind, Undertaker, Kane, British Bulldog, Triple H, Farouk, Goldust, Ahmed Johnson, Owen Hart, Ken Shamrock, and the Headbangers of all people. Hey, where are the Japanese guys? Oh, sorry, force of habit. Anyway, Bret Hart left under acrimonious circumstances in late 97, and the Bulldog went with him. Shawn Michaels had retired, and Ahmed left the company 6 months before the game came out, so a quarter of the roster is immediately rendered moot. Okay, here's the scoop. It's a 3D wrestling game like the THQ Aki series, but while previous Acclaim games were button mashers, they decided to go another route with this one. Basically, you can either tie up with your opponent or try to grab them and do a move. And to do a move, you have to enter a Mortal Kombat-esque button combination. For example, to do a Bodyslam, for some wrestlers it's left to right twice, down, then A. To do a Samoan Drop, it's left to right twice, up, and B. On the positive side, there are quite a lot of moves for your wrestlers to do. On the other hand, you'll be pausing the game quite a bit to consult the moves list screen so you can figure out what the hell you're doing. And that leads to another pet peeve. Often my opponent is getting up off the mat, and I check the menu screen to decide what to do next. Only to find that none are available, which is true, since you can't do moves while they're getting off the mat, but still, pretty annoying. Finishers might be the worst, though. I understand they're big moves and should be difficult to do, but they can be a real pain. Let's say I want to do a Pearl River Plunge, for example. Well, it's right, left, up, and then B and the right arrow button at the same time. It can be so hard to pull off, it's often not worth bothering. Or take Shawn Michaels. I love that you can do a super kick out of nowhere and not out of a grapple like in WrestleMania 2000. But that sequence is left, down, up, and A and the arrow down button together. Good luck with that. Would it have killed them to make all the finishers the same button sequence? Well, at least they made a good-looking British Bulldog Power Slam. Like I said, they give everyone a lot of moves, but everyone has some maneuver that makes you say, huh? I remember Shawn Michaels doing a lot of standing moonsaults. Nor do I remember The Undertaker doing the Ace Crusher a lot. Seemingly everyone in the game has a power bomb. Maybe I wouldn't have such a big problem if the controls were better. Moving around feels so clunky. Basic things like running or climbing to the top rope feel arduous here. I hate to belabor the point, but it felt so fluid in the THQ games. Look at how guys climb to the top rope. They climb from the inside facing the crowd, then turn around when they're up top. Who does that? There's not a lot in the way of defense. You have a block button, and you can dodge to the right or left, which looks more like you're busting a move than trying to avoid a punch from Farouk. If your opponent is near you when they get up, they'll give you a big shove, which looks so silly, and you'll see it about 8,000 times a match. You may notice you have a life bar at the top of the screen. Actually, you have several. The first life bar is dark green, then it turns light green, yellow, and finally red, meaning the opponent is ready to be finished. As you work your way through the life bars, your opponent will be stunned periodically, meaning they'll stay down on the mat or stand up in a daze. It's weird because I'll give someone a brain buster or backdrop them out of the ring, and they'll pop right back up. But if they have a little health left on their meter and you punch them, they'll be in a daze for 10 seconds. The game rewards you for varying up your offense. Put together a combo of various maneuvers, and the crowd starts chanting your name. You can do things like get out of submissions faster. Do the same move over and over again, the crowd will start cheering for your opponent. It's kind of like Warzone's version of a special. Well, it's funny the game makes moves so hard to do, and then punishes you for doing the same move over and over. Game options are fairly plentiful. There's a training mode to get the hang of the game, although having to put a training mode in there indicates that gameplay is maybe not the best. There are exhibition matches for singles and tags, but you can't pick your opponents for whatever reason. There's a cage match, weapon match, gauntlet, and Royal Rumble, the latter two exclusive to the N64. The weapons match is probably the most famous. Basically, there are a bunch of weapons in the ring, and you hit your opponent with them. New weapons are tossed in on occasion, from the crowd I guess, including large television sets. If you bop someone with a 2x4, you'll see blood fly off them, but they won't bleed themselves. That's a little silly for the Attitude Era. The main mode is Challenge Mode. Basically beat everyone and climb the ladder, or in this case, the pyramid of televisions. This has a unique scenario where if you beat someone, they can come back and challenge you to a grudge stipulation match. The PlayStation version actually features full video of this challenge, which led to this.
Listen up, punk! That little ass body of yours can't possibly deal with the ass whipping I'm gonna give you in the ring! If you want to step up to play team, bring it on! Cause I forgot to take my medication in the morning, and I'm in a real bad mood!
which basically justifies War Zone's existence. Beating Challenge Mode opens a variety of unlockables. There's standard stuff like winning with Mankind lets you play as Cactus Jack and Dude Love. But if you beat the game with Ahmed, it opens up Ego Mode, where if the crowd chants your name, your head literally expands. Funny you have to use Ahmed to open it. You can also call on other wrestlers to interfere in your matches and turn into a handicap match, and given this was the Attitude Era, that's probably pretty realistic. The graphics are solid for the most part. The game has a factory motif, which is certainly unique. The wrestlers themselves are nice and detailed, even if their posture and posing just seems a bit off. Like their close-ups after you win a match, where their faces just look weird and they have flipper hands. The sound is where the game really excels. For the first time we have actual in-game commentary, provided by Vince McMahon and Jim Ross, which is actually pretty solid for the most part.
Steve Austin is one of the most dangerous men in the WWF today.
Austin hasn't got an ounce of quit in him.
Bret Hart is a 5-time WWF champion and the leader of the Hart Foundation.
This isn't about popularity. He's the king of the hill.
Though it was strange to hear Vince as a shiny, happy babyface announcer in 1998 after his heel turn. It's certainly weird to hear him be buddy-buddy with JR. You also get crowd chanting, as previously mentioned, but most of the time the crowd's pretty quiet except for people yelling out things like, it's like a bad indie show at times. They also have the wrestlers speak, or cry out in pain when they're taking punishment. I don't know, hearing Mankind squeal like a pig doesn't add a whole lot to the experience for me. You get full entrances during Championship Mode, complete with the Raw stage and entrance music. I guess that's supposed to be pyro in the background? Looks like those fancy water fountains you see in Las Vegas. And hey, you may be saying, this game had a Creator Wrestler mode. Your fancy THQ games didn't have that yet. And that's very true. You take a blank template and give it a name, appearance, and whether they're a fan favorite or rule breaker. What, did Bill Apter program this game? The problem? Well, you can't assign individual moves to a wrestler, just movesets. So you can only give someone Bret Hart's moves, or Triple H's. I guess it's okay if you were creating your friends or something, but I always favored creating actual wrestlers who weren't in the game. Not being able to give them the moves took all the fun out of it. Why create Goldberg if he has to wrestle like Owen Hart? In addition to the 16 wrestlers in the games, they have 4 made-up movesets as well. The names Twist, Colossus, Pit Scorpion, and yes, Cheesemeister. Now, is War Zone a horrible game? I guess not, but it sure gets old fast. Maybe it's not fair to compare it to the THQ Aki games. But the fact is, when I brought this game back to college, we played it for a bit, and then we all went back to World Tour. And when Revenge came out, well, it was all over for War Zone at that point. It was almost all over for Acclaim, too, as WWF saw War Zone sales figures compared to WCW at the time, and moved to THQ after one more game. But that's coming up later. Until then... No, I'm sorry, wait. I mean, the winner is you.